Hey, what's up everyone? It's Nick Vazquez and we are back with another Greater Toronto Area real estate market update video where we're going to look at the stats for December, break down those stats a little bit, then we're going to look at 2022 as a whole and see how that year compared to the previous year, and then later in the video we're going to take a quick look at the stats for Mississauga. Before we get into it, if you find this information valuable and informative at all, if you learned something new, please just do me a huge favor, hit that like button. It does seriously help me out. Also, if you want to keep yourself informed on everything that's going on in the real estate market in Toronto, consider subscribing to the channel. Would seriously appreciate that as well. Let's jump straight into it with total residential transactions. Following the similar trend that we've been seeing over the last few months, the total sales for the month of December were down 48% compared to last year, with 3,117 transactions reported in December. So this is a very low number for December. Sales were down, not much activity happening in the market. But if we're looking at it, comparing it to November, so on a month-to-month basis, it is relatively in line. So this is very typical for December. Not much activity happens in the month of December. People are more focused on holidays and families and stuff like that, not really focused on moving. So these numbers are low, but it was expected. Now, moving on to new listings, there were 4,074 new listings that came onto the market in December. That is a very low number. This number is down 21.3% compared to last year, which is a significant year-over-year decline compared to the trend that we've been seeing over the past few months. Now, again, I just mentioned December usually is a slower month. People are not really focused on moving. Less people are likely to list their house for sale. So while the number is really low and it doesn't help the supply problem we have right now, it is a little bit of a cost concern, but again, it is the holidays, so we'll just have to see what happens. I do expect more listings to be coming on the market in January, February, and March, but we'll kind of see how things play out. Moving on to the average selling price. The average selling price for the GTA as a whole is now just over $1,050,000. That number is down 9.2% compared to last year. But if we were to just look at a month-to-month difference from November to December, but seasonally adjusted just for regular seasonal trends, that number is actually flat, like no change at all. Basically, prices have flatlined out, and that's what we've been seeing since the summer. And now we have the full information of how 2022 played out as a whole. You could see how the prices changed throughout the course of the year. Also, here's a graph to show you how 2022 stacks up to the previous 12 years. So looking at 2022 as a whole, obviously the year started out really strong, but then we saw home sales, new listings, and the average selling price start to trend lower as the Bank of Canada made their aggressive rate hikes throughout the spring and the summer. However, as I've been saying in my last few videos, prices have stabilized since the late summer. We've been relatively flat, and that is suggesting that the market adjustment to the higher rates might be coming to an end. Basically, that means that we could be at the bottom of the market. Possibly. Breaking down some specific numbers for 2022, there were 75,000 sales reported in 2022, which is down 38.2% compared to the all-time record that we saw in 2021. That number was over 120,000 sales. The number of new listings in 2022 amounted to 152,873, which is down 82% compared to last year. And in last year, we saw over 165,000 new listings hit the market. And the average price for 2022 for the year as a whole comes in at $1.189 million, which is up 8.6% compared to the average of 2021, which was just under $1.1 million. And like I just mentioned, if we just take a look at the months later in the year and do a seasonally adjusted average and just see the price trend has remained flat. And there were more rate hikes in the fall, but prices remained relatively stable. What that basically means is that even though they were raising the interest rates in the fall and in December as well, prices have remained flat. They haven't adjusted to those extra increases in the interest rate. And even though there was a big correction in the spring where prices did drop as they were raising rates, we didn't see that later in the year, and that might be explained because of the lack of supply. The lack of supply has caused a lot of problems throughout the years, and it's continuing to cause problems here, especially in the rental market. Since more and more people are getting priced out of buying and they're deciding to just rent instead, just because interest rates are really high and it's really hard to afford a home right now, this has really put a lot of pressure on the rental market, where now rent rates have gone up like crazy. We're seeing double-digit growth in the rent prices on a year-over-year basis. So going into 2023, what can you expect? I'm going to be doing a much more comprehensive analysis of this in my next market update video, so make sure you are subscribed if you want to see that one. But for now, what we can expect going into 2023 is there's gonna be two opposing forces here. So on one hand, we're gonna still be impacted by the higher interest rates. The market is still gonna feel the effects of that and how affordability has gotten really hard right now. We're gonna still see the effects of that on the market. But on the other hand, supply is still really low, and we are expected to see record levels of immigration, which is going to increase demand for homeownership and for rental housing. And that will put a strain on the market, especially from a pricing perspective. It'll be interesting to see where things go from here. Obviously, higher interest rates are gonna impact the market in a negative way, meaning prices will drop. But then we have really low supply and a lot of people that are gonna be moving to the country, which would inevitably raise prices. So it'll be important to keep an eye on the market and see how that balances out. But at the end of the day, time will tell where things go. So what does this mean for you? If you are thinking of buying, this is a really good opportunity to get into the market. There's a lot less competition, homes are sitting for longer. It's a really good opportunity to just come in and snatch up a good deal. Yes, it is a little bit harder to get approved for a mortgage now just because interest rates are so high, but I would just recommend getting pre-approved now. It's free, doesn't cost you anything. You can lock in your rate for up to 120 days. So if further interest rate hikes do happen, which one might happen at the end of January, that won't impact you at all. So if you are thinking of buying soon, I would just get pre-approved now to get that out of the way. Like I said, it is free to do that, and then you'll be set up to pounce on any good deals that do come onto the market. Now, if you're thinking about selling, it is tougher to sell right now, and it's important to be realistic and to know what's going on in your local area and how to position your home properly. If you don't need to sell, I would hold off right now, but if you do need to sell, like I said, positioning is super important. Your home needs to stand out amongst the other homes that are in your neighborhood, and if you do that properly, it will sell faster and for more money. And if you don't nail this, then your home will most likely sit on the market. Just looking at the GTA as a whole, taking the stats, basically it's 25% of homes every month in any given area are selling. So that's 2 to 3 homes for every 10 homes that are on the market. You definitely want to be in the 2 to 3 versus the other 7 that are just sitting there. So again, working with someone who's going to know how to position your house properly is super, super important. Now, if you're thinking of upsizing or downsizing, it can be done and you can actually make some money in this market. You can build some equity and gain some extra equity here if you do it properly. The important thing to note though is that you got to move in the same market conditions. You can't sell now, wait a few months and then buy, or vice versa. It's very situational, but like I said, you can make money in this market if you do it properly. If you are thinking about making a move this year, buying, selling, upsizing, downsizing, investing, anything like that, please feel free to reach out to me. Would be super happy to answer any questions that you have and help you come up with the plan that'll be best for your situation. Anyways, let's go into the numbers for Mississauga. Oh, and before we do that, if you've learned anything new so far, please just hit that like button. Would seriously appreciate it. In December, there were 280 sales in Mississauga, and the average price of a home is now $977,000. That number is 11.8% lower than last year and 4.4% lower than last month. The average price for a detached home is $1.46 million. That's $40,000 more than last month. A semi-detached costs you about $965K, about a $20K drop from last month. The average price for a townhome is $982,000. That's about a $75K drop from last month. A condo townhome will cost you $775K, about $5K less than last month. And finally, a condo apartment averages in at around $612K, which is about a $12K increase from last month. Anyways, we're gonna wrap this video up, so I do hope you found this information valuable and informative. Like I said, if you are thinking of moving or if you have any questions at all, I do encourage you to reach out to me. I'm always happy to chat about real estate and answer any questions that might be bugging you. You might be thinking about this, you wanna know what the right answer is or anything like that. You want some insight? Just reach out to me. And of course, if you're thinking of buying or selling this year, would love to hear from you, would love to come up with a plan to make sure that you hit those goals and that you have a successful 2023. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I do appreciate each and every one of you. If you learned something new, please just hit that like button. Would seriously appreciate it. It does really help me out. Also, if you want to stay informed on everything that's going on in the Toronto real estate market, just consider subscribing to the channel because we're going to have a lot of content coming out this year. And if it's valuable for you, I would seriously appreciate your subscription. Thanks again for all your support, and we'll see you on the next one. Have a good week.